What's up guys, my name's Brandon, and iOS 14.5 Beta 1 was released to both registered developers and to public beta testers earlier in the week. And after using it on multiple devices over the past few days, I wanted to discuss how the software has been running for me so far in terms of the performance, the battery life, the bugs, bug fixes, and of course we're also going to be talking about some additional new features and changes found in this update because there are a lot more than probably any of us expected. So before we get into the performance and battery life talk, let's talk about some of those additional new changes. And the first one actually has to do with music on the lock screen. So when you have a title that scrolls, you can see here that on iOS 14.5 it scrolls, and 14.4 it scrolled here inside of the music app as well, but on the lock screen it now scrolls as well. So you can go right here, you can see that the music will scroll and show the entire song title along with the feature. Whereas in iOS 14.4, which I have on this iPhone XR, you can see it just simply does not show the full title. It does not scroll at all, either the song name or the album. So that was really annoying because it did it in the music app. As you can see right here, it will scroll in the music app, but it just never did it on the lock screen. So that feature, that functionality has come back here in 14.5. Thankfully, I think a lot of people have been missing that. So there are also some other changes here in iOS 14.5 in the music application. So if we go to something like this, any album or single, it actually shows the exact release date now. So you can see there it shows June 14th, 2019, instead of just saying 2019 like it did on iOS 14.4, which I'll go right here and show you the album for this right here. If you go down to the bottom, you will see it just shows the year. So as you can see down there, it just shows 2020. That's all it says is 2020 instead of the exact date. And you can see that the text is also smaller. And then if we haptic press on a song to pull up this menu right here, you will notice that the play next and play last icons are slightly different. So you can see those right there compared to iOS 14.4 over here on the left. As you can see, they're very similar, but there is a slight difference in those glyphs right there for play next and play last. And then also if we go back to the library here, you could see that we have this made for you section right here. And this actually only shows up if you add one of the made for you mixes to your library. So before this wouldn't show up when I went to edit right here and it was checked, but I just found out that you have to download something or add it to your library for this to show up. And then you can see all of your made for you playlists right there, which is nice. Another change has to do with the guides inside of the Maps application. So when you go to the guides right here, you will see that there is a drastic difference in 14.4 versus 14.5. So the 14.5 UI for map guides is far superior. It looks so much better, so much cleaner. And yeah, you can see there a big difference, especially up top. It's very similar to what we see in like the podcast app in this update as well. And this is what I was talking about with the podcast app just looking so much better now in this new refined version here in 14.5. And then also I talked about this in my initial video, but I found out just how useful it is after using it over the past couple of days. If you want to download an episode, all you do is swipe all the way over and it just downloads. So you can see it's starting to download right there. There's really not much more to it. It's very simple, and I found it to be extremely convenient when you want to download podcasts. Another minor UI change I noticed here in 14.5 has to do with widgets. So when you go to add a widget to your home screen, you will notice that the add widget button at the bottom is slightly more round than it was before. So on iOS 14.4, you can see there it was a little bit more squared off, but now in 14.5, it's more rounded off than it was previously. So small difference, but that is something that's changed, and you guys know I like to cover every single thing that has been changed. And in my initial video, I talked about how the Maps has a new UI change, and a lot of people said that they've been having that for a while. But if you actually look at these two side by side, you will notice some slight differences. So for instance, the Go button is a little bit bigger here on 14.5, and if we actually tap on Go, this is where you'll definitely see the difference when we go up right here. So you can see the end is down on the bottom on 14.4, and it shows right there. But on 14.5, you actually have to click this arrow to go up, and then you get this UI here, which definitely looks better, and the end is more clear, and it's not as easy to accidentally press like you could on 14.4. Now I also wanted to add some further details and clarify some things about the unlock with Apple Watch feature, which of course allows you to unlock your Face ID device while wearing a mask if you have your Apple Watch on your wrist. Now, if you look at the verbiage down here, it does not say anything about needing to have Wi-Fi enabled, but you actually do. So this feature will not work unless you have Wi-Fi enabled on both your phone and on your Apple Watch. That is needed just so they can communicate with each other. They don't have to be connected to Wi-Fi, but you just need to have the Wi-Fi enabled on both the watch and the phone. So a lot of people had issues with this feature just not working. They weren't able to toggle it on and multiple things like that. But the solution was just because they did not have Wi-Fi enabled. So I did want to clarify that. And that feature has actually been working really, really well for me. Now, it's not the fastest, but it's there. And you know, I can see it getting faster by the time 14.5 gets released to everybody. I absolutely love this feature. I've been out multiple times while wearing a mask, and I'm able to unlock my phone without pulling my mask down or without putting in my passcode. It is great. It is brilliant. And it's actually made me wear my watch more, which is also genius by Apple for, you know, making those two work together for this feature. Now, I also wanted to discuss iPadOS 14.5 Beta 1 because we do also have some new features and changes exclusive for the iPad. And the first new feature on iPadOS 14.5 Beta 1 is that we finally have emoji search in the keyboard down here. So if you're searching for like funny, you can see you can search for it right there and it will show the emojis just like we can do on iOS. So finally, that has come to the iPad. Now also another feature we've been talking about and hoping for since iOS 14 first released is that we can actually now use Siri, Hey Siri, while using your iPad, and it will be working in the background. So if I'm just scrolling through here on Safari and I wanted to say something or activate something via Siri, I can do that. So I can either say Hey Siri or invoke it by the power button up top, and you can see Siri down in the bottom right, and it will actually do things while I'm interacting in the background. So it's actually running in the background while I'm doing other things on the iPad, which is something we've been wanting for a while, ever since 14 was released. So thankfully, that is now a feature here in 14.5. Also, if we go into our settings and then go to Safari, if we go ahead down a little bit further, you will see we have this new toggle here called Privacy Preserving Add Measurement. And then if we go into iOS 14.5 Beta 1 and scroll down, you can see it's here on iOS 14.5 as well. I just noticed it first on the iPad over here. And then another new feature in 14.5 is that the boot logo actually shows up in landscape mode on 14.5 now. So if you reboot your device or when you update, if you have it in landscape mode, the Apple logo will now show in landscape mode instead of being stuck in portrait like it has been forever, I believe. But as far as performance and battery life on iPadOS 14.5 Beta 1, I have absolutely no complaints. Everything is pretty much flawless, honestly, on this version, which is crazy because that's not exactly the same on iOS 14.5 for whatever reason, but we'll talk about that here in a moment. So first off, I want to talk about some bugs that I've noticed after using 14.5 Beta 1 on my main device here, the iPhone 12 Pro. So let me show you guys a video clip because AirPlay just simply does not work for me. So as you can see, I'm trying to connect to my TV via AirPlay and it just simply does not work. I tried everything. I tried it for probably 20 minutes and just gave up after rebooting and rebooting the TV, everything. AirPlay is just really an issue for me here on 14.5. And then another bug that a lot of people can relate to is that the PlayStation app just simply does not launch here on 14.5. The app just got updated a week ago, so it's definitely iOS 14.5 and iPadOS 14.5 that is preventing the PlayStation app from running. And this is the exact same bug that we saw with apps like Outlook and all of the Microsoft Office applications. Those would not open in the first version of 14.5. That's why Apple had to push out a re-release, a beta 1.5, you could say. So for some reason though, they did not include the fix for the PlayStation app, and that is a bug that I would expect to be fixed in the next beta, if not before, because PlayStation may push out an update to make it work on this beta, so we'll see on that. I did also want to mention that some people are still having issues with web pages not loading. So they get a WebKit error, and actually if we go into our settings here and go to Safari and then go down to Advanced and then to Experimental Features, you may actually have to turn off this feature right here, HTTP 3. You may need to turn that off for these web pages to load properly. So that is definitely a bug here in 14.5, and the first beta had major issues with this, and then the re-release of the first beta 1.5, fixed it for most people, but some people are still having issues, so you may need to disable that option right there inside of your settings. But aside from those bugs, the performance on 14.5 beta 1 is actually pretty good so far. I mean, obviously, like I said, the app crashing bugs and things like AirPlay and even AirDrop would struggle sometimes here on 14.5. It's not as bad as previous betas, and it still works just fine here in this first beta, but it struggles. It's a little bit on the slower side. And of course, AirPlay, I just simply cannot get it to work at all. So that's a major issue for me because I love casting things to my TV. So that makes it kind of annoying to use on a daily basis, but I cannot complain about bugs in a beta. That's what a beta is for. You know, I'm not supposed to be using this on my daily device, but I do, so I can tell you guys exactly how it runs and if you should update or not. But as far as battery life goes, battery life I really can't complain too much about either because it's pretty much the same as 14.4, the final release for me. And I feel like I say this in every video, but I'm just being real with you guys. I mean, I'm not looking at charts. I'm just going off of my actual daily usage and what I notice. If I can get to bed and have some juice left, then it's about the same for me. You know, I use my phone pretty consistently, like the same amount every day. I do the same sort of things on my phone, and I honestly cannot tell a difference. So if I can't tell a difference, you most likely will not be able to tell a difference unless you just have some kind of bug with battery drain, which does happen, which is possible, but that does not happen to me on any of the devices I have 14.5 on. And actually, I should say that the battery life on iPadOS 14.5 Beta 1 is actually slightly better, I believe, than 14.4. I mean, when I play games, I play a lot of Call of Duty, I play a lot of PUBG and Real Racing. I play those games a lot, and I don't know if it has to do with the games or what, but 14.5 Beta 1 handles these like a champ. I even use my PlayStation 5 controller, which is also another feature here in 14.5, but I use the PS5, the DualSense controller to play some of these games, and everything runs fine, and the battery life is actually really good on 14.5, I believe, or at least it feels better than 14.4 for me, which is really impressive. So iPadOS 14.5, it definitely seems smoother than iOS for whatever reason. It could also be kind of, not placebo, but I do use the iPhone more throughout the day, obviously, so it could have something to do with that as well. But yeah, 14.5 is really solid so far for a first beta. So now let's talk about when we can expect to see iOS 14.5 Beta 2. So next week is the week of the 8th. And since Apple pushed out 2 beta updates this week, we had the Beta 1 release and the Beta 1 re-release to fix up some bugs and also bring out the public beta. I think that there's a chance that Apple actually skips next week and releases Beta 2 on the week of the 15th. That's actually what I said in the initial What's New video for iOS 14.5 Beta 1, but I think that is a possibility, and that would put us on a release date for the final version near the end of March. So that is possible, but obviously it's still too early to tell. We'll be able to tell if Apple's on a 1 week or a 2 week cycle after we get the second beta. But I would not be surprised if we skip next week, because logically you would think that Apple will push out these updates, these beta updates every single week since we're on a 0.5 release. So there is a possibility of it coming on the 8th, the week of the 8th, but I think there's a stronger likelihood of it coming on the week of the 15th. So we'll have to wait and see. Of course, I will keep you guys updated on Twitter and here on YouTube as well. So let's end this off by going over the community tab because I had you guys vote in the poll. I want to see what you guys thought about iOS and iPadOS 14.5. So if we go to the community tab over here, you can see I posted this poll and you can see we got 13,000 votes. So thank you to everybody who voted in this. I really do appreciate it. You can see I asked, how has iOS 14.5 Beta 1 been running for you so far? And you can see that 15% of people said excellent, no annoying bugs, and good battery life. 6% said good, just some minor bugs. 4% said not so good, buggy and average or bad battery life, and 75% of you are not on iOS 14.5 beta just yet, which I don't blame you. It is the first beta. You kind of want to see how it's running for everybody else before downloading it on your device. But you can see here that excellent has by far the highest percentage there for those that are actually running 14.5, which is actually pretty impressive for a first beta. So let's go and look at what you guys had to say about this update down here. So you can see I asked here in the pinned comment, how has the unlock with Apple Watch feature been working for those with Face ID devices? And you can see a lot of people are saying that it's perfect. It's a little slow, though the convenience makes up for it. Pretty good actually, it works 8 out of 10 times. So you can see the feature has never failed while I'm wearing the mask. What I've had is that the watch has unlocked the phone even without me wearing a mask or looking at the iPhone. So interesting there. There are definitely some bugs to work out with this new feature. Works every time, good idea. My 10-hour matches up the update so well. So yeah, you can see some good, works flawlessly with me, some good comments, some good feedback on this new feature, which is nice. You can see Nolan here says there is a bug with Face ID not showing the passcode instantly when a mask is worn. It tries to unlock for 10 seconds, then shows the passcode screen on an iPhone 11. So not sure what's going on there. Maybe that has something to do with not being on Wi-Fi or not having Wi-Fi enabled. I'm not too sure. I've not had that at all because it's worked for me pretty much every single time. There's a bug where my AirPods are disconnected. So I feel like I see this in every single release, every single poll I do. There's somebody complaining about this, and you can see someone saying that they take forever to connect to their 12 Pro Max, and sometimes they don't connect at all. So not too sure this is really, something in 14.5 because I've literally seen that for the past like 10 polls I've done on various different iOS versions. So could be an issue with your AirPods or your phone. I'm not too sure because I do not have that issue. You can see here, Elliot says, updated and now I cannot use Safari. Every page I go to says Safari can't open the page. The error was WebKit encountered an internal error. So you may have to disable the HTTP3, which I showed earlier in the video to fix that. Good so far, but buggy when scrolling in the app library, but better than the first beta using iPhone XR. So that's good to hear there. And when he says first beta, he means the first release. Of course, we had 2 releases of the first beta. Jim here is talking about the PlayStation app crashing, which I did already talk about in this video. You can see here, this guy said, 12 Pro, disappointed to see allow apps to request a track feature is grayed out. I'm on the public beta. So don't worry, that is grayed out for me as well. But of course that will be, coming, that will be able to be toggled on in the future once 14.5 gets released to the public. Everything is smooth sailing on the XS Max and 14.5. Haven't noticed any issues. Battery life and performance so far seems a little better as well. Not complaining, so that is good news there. Christina here says that the battery life is about the same on the 11 Pro Max. Everything is running smoother and Safari is loading web pages again, so that's fixed. So she probably had the issue in the first beta and then the re-release did fix that Safari issue. You can see here, PlayStation app, people talking about that as well. And of course the Safari error. So a lot of these are pretty widespread and that's the reason I talked about them early on as well. Good, but have weird thing where sometimes I get messages, but it's blank when I go to read the messages to turn off the phone or hard reset to read them. That's an interesting bug there. I've not faced that. If you guys have had that issue with messages, let me know in a comment below, but I have not personally had that. You can see here, 12 Pro Max, YouTube app and occasional screen flickering on videos goes away with a scroll up or down. Interesting, I've not had that either. So thank you to everybody who did comment and vote in this poll. I really do appreciate it. If you guys want to go see all the comments and leave your opinion about this update on this poll, you can by going over to my channel and going to the community tab. So thanks again for everybody who continuously votes in these polls. They really do help me out, and obviously that helps you guys out as well, so you can see how other people are doing on these updates. But anyways guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you think about 14.5 beta 1 down in the comments below. How is it running for you? Are you having similar results to me, similar experiences to me or not? Let me know down there in those comments. And of course, if you guys do appreciate these videos and you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I will have a lot more coming very soon. But anyways guys, thanks again for watching and I'll see you soon.